besties, there is way too much festive related chaos happening in December to really be doing a whole load of stuff. Plus we're going to be doing a big ol' reset in January anyway for the brand new year. So let's just keep December pretty low key and maximum chill. The nights are long, the days are rainy, and it is literally just perfect for sitting and reading and doing other cozy hobbies. So let's focus on that this month. Hi besties, I'm Annie. Let's talk resetting for December. We've got a couple of things to chat about today. I'm going to give you a little bit of a recap on what I was reading in November. I know I said I wasn't going to do reading wrap-ups anymore, and I'm not really doing like a full wrap-up, but we're going to do a quick little rundown of what I've been reading. I also have a whole bunch of festive / winter coded books for December, which I will run you guys through. I've been doing a little bit of like preparation for the new year, and I will continue doing a little bit of pre-New Year's prep and reset this month. And then honestly, I don't think there's a huge amount of stuff going on because I have so many like festive related activities like lunch with friends, dinner with work colleagues, and all the things like that. So I'm just needing to like pull back on some of the plans at the moment and just have 5 minutes to start. Okay, should we start with what I've been reading in November? I'm just going to give you guys a quick rundown. We're not going to go into like all loads of detail, but we did start with Fated to the Wolf Prince by April L. Moon, and I did DNF this at 27%. Honestly, this had potential based off of the synopsis, and I was excited for this because I was like in like a little bit of like a werewolfy moment, and honestly low-key still am. It almost moved too quickly and yet didn't move anywhere at all. I mean, by like 8% they'd already connected and was like, oh my goodness, you're my mate. And I was like, okay, so you've just like ruined that whole pining thing for me. And then there was like a couple of other things which I'm not going to spoil in case you really do want to read it. It was just not for me. I was a little bit disappointed. I wanted more like weight, and it wasn't really giving me weight. Then we've got Beg For It by Madison Fox. This was a 5-star and a 4 chilies. I know this was like her Halloween novella. Honestly, really happy that I read it at the beginning of November because I was not really in a Halloweeny mood too much before. But like right after I was like, yes, give me fall, give me this kind of vibe, because it was like, basically it's rained through most of November. It's probably gonna rain through most of December. So it was like the perfect weather to accompany this book. So I was really, really happy for that. Then we've got The Kraken Sacrifice by Katie Robert, which was 5 chilies, but only 3.5 stars. And honestly, I think that might be a little bit generous. I was like really vibing with this for the first like good 90% of it. And then something switched, no spoilers obviously, but something switched and I just went, if I wasn't this far through and it wasn't only 160 pages in total, I would put it down or finish it on principle alone. The fact that I was like really enjoying so much of this means that she got a 3.5 star, and I was just disappointed at the end. It just wasn't really necessary. If you know, you know, I did put on Fable and Goodreads that my review was spoilers. So if you've read it and you want to see what I actually thought about it, do go check that out. My links are down below. If you haven't read it and you don't want spoilers, obviously don't look at that until after you've read it. But you know, it's out there on the internet, do with that information what you will. Then I buddy read Zodiac Academy 3, which was The Reckoning. 5 stars, 4 chilies. Like, things are really starting to kick off in this series. I think I was reading this book as part of the self-care reading blog, so I know I've spoken about it quite a bit already. I love this. I'm so glad that I'm buddy reading this series, because I think if I was just reading it on my own, it would be a completely different experience. So I'm really glad that I'm reading it with my best friend. We are having the absolute best time. Then we've got A Lady of Rooksgrave Manor. Again, this was a DNF at 21%. This was 5 chilies though, like straight out the gate. Literally page 1 is like, boom, chilies. And I'm like, okay, like that's what I signed up for. That's what I wanted. The reason that this one wasn't for me was really the language used, because it's got this like historical setting. Some of the language used and some of the specific words that are used were just like not my favorite, and I'm not really vibing with them, and it kind of ruined it for me. It really took me out, and I'm low-key a little bit sad about that. Then we read Zodiac Academy 0.5, which is Origins of an Academy Bully, and the reason that we've waited to this point is we were following a guide that said you then need to read, so you read 1, 2, 3, then you read the whole Ruthless Fae, is it Ruthless Fae series, or whichever one starts with Ruthless Fae, I can't remember, and then you do 0.5, The Reckoning, The Awakening, from the guy's POV and then carry on numerically. And to be honest, I don't think we can handle not being with the main ZA group at the moment. So we've just kind of like skipped the other series. We'll go back to it at some point. But from like a little no spoilers Google that we did, it was like, oh, all you'd really be missing is some like inside jokes and a bit of backstory. And we're like, I don't care that much. Just give me what's happening now. But honestly, that was like a 3.5 stars. I enjoyed it. It was only 90 odd pages. It gives you a little bit of context, but it was like, that was kind of it. That was like the whole point, was to give you a little bit of context. And I was like, okay, cool. That is all. Then I read Big Nick Energy by Morgan Elizabeth. This is my book club pick for our December meetup. This is also part of a festive reading vlog which will be coming out in December. So if you want to see everything that I've been reading, all of these like 10 festive books I'll talk about in a minute, if you want to see all of that, then do subscribe down below, ring the notification bell so you know when that video goes live. But that is going to be a whole lot of good fun and festive coded, obviously. So I read that one for that vlog, as well as Whiskey Business by Lainey Lawson. I'm not going to tell you guys about them now, you're going to have to wait for that vlog, but I have been enjoying myself. Okay besties, let's quickly run down this list because I've just realized I left my tea in the other room, so I'm now on a timer to finish recording before my tea gets cold, because I am now on this bed and I'm not getting up to go and get it. It's just a thing, don't worry about it. But for the festive reads, I'm just gonna give you guys the long list of everything. I'll put it on the screen here, but I'll give you guys the long list. You can go and research them to your own free will. But they're all like festive-y / winter coded. Some of them are not like festive, some of them are just set in winter, and I'm like, do you know what, that's fine, that'll do. Because I think if I was reading a whole load of books that were like super cutesy, let's have a romance and then open up presents on Christmas Day, I'd literally be so over it in 5 minutes flat. So I tried to pick quite a range of things. So let me know in the comments down below if any of these you guys pick up, because I would love to know. And like I said, we're going to be reading a whole bunch of these in that festive reading vlog. So we've got Big Nick Energy by Morgan Elizabeth and Whiskey Weather by Lainey Lawson, which I have already read. Then we've got Duke by Jessica Peterson, which comes out on the 2nd of December, as well as The Mating Game by Lana Ferguson comes out on the 2nd of December. Gifted to His Dad by Jay Wilder, The Christmas Tree Farm by Laurie Gilmore, Gingerbread Bakery by Laurie Gilmore, Good Spirits by BK Borison, Hunted in Holly by Leanne Bell, Tied Up in Tinsel by M. Hartley, Christmas in Chestnut Springs by Elsie Silver, which you can only get through signing up for her newsletter as a note, Melt for Us by Molly Doyle. That is all the information I'm going to give you guys. Go check out those reads if you're interested in any of those, but we will be spilling all the details about those in the festive reading vlog. I know you guys are desperate to get to the bullet journal, but we need to talk a little bit about resetting for the new year, kind of tidying up the space and everything. What I have done is I've gone through the TBR cart, the TBR shelf, and my Amazon wish lists. I have added up everything, and I now have over 300 books on my want to read on Fable. My Fable is linked down below, so do go check that out. Go follow me over there. I always try and post little funny like review, anecdote, obscure little things that is like majority of them are no spoiler. I love doing that. I think it's so funny to post something really obscure. But I have finally updated that list and realized that I have more books than I have time, which I'm pretty sure is not only my problem. That is the first set of resetting that I have been doing for the new year, is getting all of that in order. And as I am putting stuff on my wish lists and things, I am putting it straight into Fable. So that list is constantly getting updated, which is really, really good. And I feel really happy that I went to the effort of doing that as well, because obviously when you set up your Fable account, you can pull in all your stuff from Goodreads. But I know that for so long I hadn't really logged anything on Goodreads in terms of like stuff that made it onto the cart and things that I was like interested in buying. That like, I think I basically went from, I think it was like 98 books on the want to read to like over 300. So that was a good few hours of work. Obviously this month we are setting up the new journal for the new year, so that is super cute. That will be coming out soon, that video. What else are we doing this month for resets? Honestly, I just have like a couple of like little personal projects that I want to do. Like this room I would really love to get painted. Looking at the schedule, looking at the diary, I don't think I'm gonna actually be able to manage it, but at the very least I'd like to get it done in the early part of 2026. I really want to get this room painted because I know it's aesthetic. aesthetic to have it all white, but you know what, like, I am not an aesthetic girly. I never have been, I never will be. I know I obviously print out my Pinterest mood boards and stuff like every month and every quarter. It's less about the aesthetics of that and it's more about these are the things I want to kind of accomplish, like the baking and the crafty bits and the reading and whatever. But I really want to get this room painted and get this room like maximum cozy. So that's kind of on the longer list of things. The other things I want to do is I want to do some more work on my current romantasy novel that I'm working on. So I've like printed out the first draft, I've gone through, I've highlighted it, I've written myself some notes and stuff. So I'm now just working through implementing those edits, those developmental edits. That is going to be a huge piece of work. I'm probably going to be doing that for a little while yet. I want to keep working on it. I don't want to like lose the momentum that I've built. So that needs to keep going. I also have a Lego set of these like wildflowers, which are these ones here, these wildflowers, and I really want to build that, but I need to find a nice vase. And again, I don't know if like having the time to like go out and find a nice vase that like fits the vibe needs to kind of wait until maybe the room is painted and everything, but I'd like to start working on that. Again, I don't really know if that's feasible until other things are done, but it's kind of loosely on the radar, okay? Like I said, for December, I'm just planning on keeping it really chill because there's like so much stuff going on and so many other things that I need to do. Like I still need to decorate for the festive season, still need to do all of that. Like we're seeing family, we're seeing friends all at various different points. That I'm like, there's only so many hours in a day that I can actually do stuff. I don't really know what to tell you. There's so much going on constantly. I have set up the bullet journal. All of the weeks are looking slightly different. December is always my test for how I want the next year to go. I've got like a couple of like weekly things here. I'm not going to show you guys in too much detail because I've started inputting information already. I've set up all the weeks slightly differently because I want to test which one I want to do for January. And to be honest, depending on which one I like the most will probably be the one that we use in January. Test it for a full month and then we'll kind of go from there. But that's just something that I tend to do every couple of years, is I always tend to like change it up because as the schedule grows, as life changes, I always find that I need a slightly different setup. This kind of one that we were doing at the start of the year where we just had like the really simple weeks and then the long list for the tasks was great at the start of the year. And then when we went through like the summer break, I changed it so that we had more of this like every day had its own task list, but I also had a space for like intention because I thought that was going to be a big thing. It was not. That didn't happen. So November has been like relatively similar in terms of like I've had a box for each day and each day has had its own task list. But then I've also still had general tasks and I do quite like this format, so I do want to stick with this every day has its own task list thing, because otherwise I was finding as we were getting into the summer that long task list, I would just like put it off, be like, well, there's another day in the week I can do it, and then they would some tasks would carry on for like 3-4 weeks and I'm like, oh, I really do need to get that done. So I'm trying out a couple of new styles for the weeklies. But for the mood board, we've got some like reading bits up here. We've got that little bouquet thing that I would like to do, some baking, some sewing, some writing, and then some hanging out with friends here at the bottom. And it says it's the most wonderful time of the year. Arguably it's not the most wonderful time of the year to be outside, but it is the most wonderful time of the year to be indoors when it is raining. Typically today it's really sunny, but it's great to be inside when it's rainy and miserable because it is the perfect time to lay back and read, and I love it. But let me know in the comments down below, what are you guys doing in December? What are you up to? Have you got like 1001 events planned where you got to see everyone before the festive period really kicks in? Have you still got all of your festive shopping to do? Let me know in the comments down below. Also let me know what you guys are reading at the moment because I love talking books with you guys. It is so much fun. But all in all, I really hope you get a little bit of time this holiday season, no matter what you're celebrating. If you are at all, I hope you get a little bit of time to just breathe, take a moment and just enjoy some time to yourself. But thank you guys so much for coming to hang out with me. I hope you have an absolutely amazing Cozy Chaos day and your next read is a 5-star. I'll see you guys next time. Bye!